It's the reality of the startling case numbers reported day after day after thousands are on ventilators. It's the reality of the startling case numbers reported day after day after day in this country. Just yesterday, more than 167,000 new infections here. In the last week, more than 1 million new cases. So far, more than 11.3 million Americans have been sickened, and tragically, more than 248,000 souls have been lost. Joining us now is a medical director of the Special Pathogens Unit at Boston Medical Center, MSNBC medical contributor, Dr. Nahid Bhadelia. Dr. Bhadelia, I want to put up some of the headlines from around the country. Hospitalizations in North Texas surpassed the July peak. Iowa and its hospitals at a perilous stage. Wisconsin's hospitals overburdened. A surge in Northeast Ohio. There is really no part of this country that is spared, and yet you heard there, and you hear this increasingly from healthcare workers. They leave the hospital where they're treating sick patients, and they see people on line outside of bars not wearing masks.
Yeah, Nicole, good afternoon. You and I have in the past talked about the fact that it's so hard to convince, because this is a disease that in some cases causes mild disease, and in others it kills people. It's hard to convince people who have mild disease that, look, your actions are hurting people and they're overwhelming the healthcare system. So we're now entering a phase, Nicole, that's going to change. We're going to see, we are at the start, if not well into it, a healthcare crisis that, like the likes of which this country hasn't seen yet. 73,000, you said, hospitalized. That's up from 28,000 at the end of August. And a contact of mine at COVID Tracking Project said that from HHS data, they got reports that 1,000 hospitals are already reporting healthcare worker shortages. And this is before we're seeing the impact of the subsequent millions of new cases that we're seeing every single week now in this country. When this plays out, it will not leave anyone untouched. It won't be New York. It won't be California. All these other places are already feeling, not just the people who are impacted directly by COVID, but others will see their care impacted, because when they go to seek care, they will notice that their hospitals are becoming more and more repositories of COVID units. The healthcare workers are getting pulled into caring for those patients. And so there is no ceiling. And I think that's what you're hearing healthcare workers say, because there's no ceiling. And now is the time to roll back and really think about what we do. It's well past that time, I think.
Well, can you because I think even people that want to do all the right things are confused about why Thanksgiving gatherings with family and close friends are so dangerous. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm happy to, partly because I'm also undoing misinformation from the White House COVID advisor, Dr. Scott Atlas, who earlier this week said, go ahead, gather everybody in your in your homes. The concern is indoor spaces remain so much more dangerous in transmission of infections, right? We know that they're about 20 times more dangerous because this virus sticks around when you're inside. And if you bring in a lot more people in your house whose status you don't know, you're likely to bring the virus into your home. And it might be might be the last Thanksgiving that many people have because of that. And the things that I would say is limit the number of people to just the people in your close household. Don't travel this year if you don't have to. Wear that mask. Please reduce the number of people you're around and the indoor time that you're around. And for the states, mandate those masks and roll back indoor capacity in bars and restaurants and gyms and everywhere else where people gather.
Dr. Nahid Bhadelia, thank you for spending some time with us. Really grateful to have your advice for people trying to do all the right things this season. And I guess the good news is with vaccines on the horizon, it might be just one Christmas and Thanksgiving and Hanukkah season that people miss. Thank you. The next hour of Deadline White House starts after a very short break for us. Don't go anywhere.